Go.
Okay. All right. So welcome everyone to our debate presentation. Here we have Alfred, Max, Jason, Kim, Pei, and myself. So next slide, please. So, all right. So go to the introduction slide. Right. So today we are going to discuss about an overbooking case in the United Airlines. So according to the NBC News, the incident happened in 2019, which has caused the United Airlines to severe reputation damage. So after a video recording uploaded by a passenger, which went viral shortly in the online platform, and later on, there were certain points of views regarding to the overbooking strategy implemented by the United Airlines. And therefore, today we are going to form an affirmative team and a negative team in our group to explore further into the pros and cons of the case. And there will be myself, Max, and Kim on the affirmative side. And the opposite side, we will have Jason, Alfred, and Pei. So coming up to the next slide, we will briefly demonstrate how overbooking strategy works and the way it can help company to achieve its best potential. So theoretically, overbooking is deployed in high demand periods where firms sell more than their available inventory in order to anticipate last minute cancellations or modifications or customer no-shows. And for example, these scenarios can occur under a variety of personal circumstances, such as like sickness, change of plans, accident, or external situations like weather, or even operational reasons such as duplicate sale. So essentially, overbooking, as its name indicates, means that the guests will book more rooms or seats than the company actually has. So this will imply that no financial potential is wasted because all the rooms will always be occupied, allowing the company to operate beyond the usual profit margin. So generally, overbooking can help any kind of operation to achieve the most occupancy in its place, which can maximize the revenue. So therefore, it will minimize the lost opportunity in high demand periods. And as a result, revenue maximization is part of the overbooking, and it is crucial to any company because it can increase the customer base, which can boost up the competitive advantage. And maximizing revenue is also a useful way to prevent issues with the supply chain, quickly increase the cash flow, and improve the overall business operations. And to maintain customer retention, policies are also needed in overbooking to assess how to ensure that customers denied service are satisfied and to reduce the financial risk associated with losing future customers. And lastly, regarding to the overbooking in the airlines, like I mentioned it earlier, overbooking is able to anticipate customer no-shows, which can also help airlines to determine how many extra tickets they need to sell through the no-show rate determined by the data from the past flights connecting to the same points. So that is the end of my point. The next person will go against me will be Jason.
Okay, thank you for that, Min. So as Min mentioned before, revenue is one of the purpose of building a company aside from their goal to achieve their vision and mission itself. So when looking at Min's point of view, he clearly has a good point on how it can benefit the company revenue. But as this is an hospitality industry and how customer is considered king, we must also look at the customer's point of view and how it might affect on the company or the industry itself. So when overbooking happens in an airline, this simply means that guests have bought tickets for their flight, but since there are more people compared to seats available, so customer will be moved on a different plane, which will be in a different time or even day. This can affect the customer's purpose on their trip, which can affect on how they feel about the company. In this point, I'm going to talk about how overbooking can relate to customer satisfaction, loyalty, brand reputation, and how it can decrease the revenue of the airline in the long term. So we all know that customer satisfaction, customer loyalty, and brand reputation is an important factor to consider when the company is in a hospitality industry. Customer satisfaction is a term used to examine how customers are satisfied with the service or product of an individual or a company. Customer satisfaction and customer relationship has a strong bond, meaning that one can affect the other easily. Bloomer and Leeming mentioned that the customer satisfaction and customer loyalty is related in a different way. Moving on to customer loyalty. According to Kandampuli et al. 2018, customer loyalty is an identical service purchase over a certain period of time. This simply means how a customer always chooses a specific company when purchasing a product from a certain industry. Kandampuli also mentioned that he has an example on how essential customer loyalty is by researching on a case where if a company increase its customer loyalty by 5%, it can increase 50% up to 80% in the overall revenue. Just from this, it can be seen that customer loyalty is crucial. Next, we're going to talk about brand reputation. As stated by Chow et al. 2015, reputation is a word used to describe a customer's opinion regarding an individual or a company. Reputation is based on a couple of factors, such as how employees are, how they treat their customers, their products, and etc. The effect of having a bad company reputation can have an impact on the sales of the company itself. If companies does not find ways to fix their reputation, then it might lead them to a bad road ahead. So in this case of overbooking, as mentioned before, when overbooking happens, customer can be bumped into another flight. As described before, customer satisfaction, customer loyalty, and brand reputation is an essential step for companies to maintain. When overbooking happens, this can decrease the customer satisfaction, hence will decrease the customer loyalty, which will then also decrease their brand image. Don't forget about the negative word of mouth, which is how information are spread through each person's mouth. All this factor will decrease the revenue of the company itself in the long term, since they already have a bad image of the company, or in this case, United Airlines. It is important that airlines fix the overbooking problems because overbooking is an unethical step that companies still take to this day, which they don't consider the consequences that they have to face in the near future. So even though Min has a good point of revenue for the company, looking from the customer's point of view, this can actually bite back to the company in the long term. So moving on to the second affirmative theme, I will pass the presentation to Pei.
Thank you for Jason, but I agree with Min because the overbooking can help more chance for customers to attend to flight because the number of flights is fixed, which means the number of customers that can be cried is also fixed too. So that means another customers who are in demand will lose the right to buy air tickets, which means they will lose their travel or work or the other plan. And the overbooking giving them hope that they may be able to live on time. The airline will be, and the airline will use the models to circulate that in most cases. The customer, they will the airline will be know the really how many customers cannot come in. So the most people do not will be faced to these situations. But if you really face this situation, you will have two situations. The first one is free upgrades. That's why someone was faced to the airline supervisors was tell them they can upgrade. And the second one is the compensation. But for this situation, airline will the first one, airline will be to see the volunteers. If they have energy volunteers, will be finished. But if they haven't, they will put some people at Roden. and the airline will be give up a volunteer or the people to sit and receive the compensation for the for the speculative amount will be see the points briefly. And the next one we can see the picture. That's about 2015 of US. So we can see that a number of people in volunteer is not large, but also of course this situation is not very good. But we should be know there will be always be have people who cannot get on the planes and that after their other plan. At present, airphones cannot fully meet the needs of people to use. I believe the most people was facing question about of not being able to get a ticket, and overbookings is really is already the best things for airlines can do to allow more people to travel reasonably without this if there happens this measure, more people should have the face worse problems such as not being able to get tickets, or the price of air tickets going up, or the other the problem. So that's all will be talk. So next one is the Alpha, please.
Okay, so thank you for the Peigang. Yeah, so thank you for the Peigang. So on the customer view, the overbooking is a cheating behavior for the customer. Because when the customer buy the flight ticket, when they do not like how many tickets left, that the situation they buy ticket, they will have the risk to unwilling leave the flight. That is the unfair for the customer right. According to the research from the news.com.au, have the 40,000 passengers are unwilling leave their flight on each years. That most worst thing are the overbooking is illegal, is a legal thing. Even some airline company will do the compensation for the guest. However, they have some airline company doing nothing. According to customer rights organization Choice Research, the airline company do not have to compensation for the customer. If the airline company will do something for the overbooking, even the company they do nothing, they are legal and they don't need a compensation for the guest, for the customer. Only if the customers take that risk. And for some airline company will mandatory for the passenger leave their flight. So they have the case. In the 2017, the passenger from the United Airlines called Dr. Devin Du been violence drive away on flights by the air police on the unreasonable. And the air police is the whopping, and he have the injury, leave the flight. So after that happened, the United think that is normal approaching move. That is the violate these passengers' customer right and human right. Those behavior is not followed by the business ethics. So for the conclusion is the overbooking behavior is the only benefit thing for the airline company. It's not benefiting for the customer because the overbooking only can like for the day to increase the revenue. So that risk, the most risk is the customer to take it. So King will talk the next one.
Thank you, Alfred. The last point is about ticket pricing. Overbooking allows company to offer the reasonable ticket price. Flight overbooking is pervasive in the airline industry. It is a legal practice to account for no-shows and cancellation to allow the airline to improve their load factors and reduce revenue losses. In fact, if overbooking were to be made illegal, the price of air travel tickets would likely increase. Overbooking helps airlines guarantee their planes will be filled to capacity, allowing them to keep tickets cheap. An overbooked flight is when an airline sells more tickets on the plane than there are seats. This is the way to avoid empty seats from no-show passengers or missed connections. Overbook might also be referred to as oversold. Airlines utilize this practice to ensure planes are at capacity and they can maximize profit. In addition, should overbooking be done away with, airline would impose stricter ticketing time limits so that airlines be assured of load factors and can lock in revenue. They may also increase fees for no-show passengers or tighten the restriction on tickets to make more fares non-refundable after a no-show. So, consumer may lose access to more flexible fares that are available today. Passengers who are denied boarding involuntarily due to oversale are entitled to compensation that is based on the price of their ticket, the length of time that they are delayed in getting to their destination because of being denied boarding, and whether their flight is domestic flight or an international flight leaving from the United States. This is called denied boarding compensation, or DBC for short. Here are the tables of denied boarding compensation policy of United States. For the domestic travelers, if the airplane is delayed 1 to 2 hours, they compensate 200% and the limit of $775 of one-way fare. And it is if it's over 2 hours, they compensate for 100% and the limit of $1,550 of one-way fare. For the international traveler, if the airplane is delayed 1 to 4 hours, they compensate 200%, and if it's over 4 hours, they compensate for 400%. And next, Max will continue against me.
Thank you, Kim. So as the against with the ticket pricing of overbooking strategy in airline industry that are being separated into 3 different aspects, with the lower price of ticket and the hidden cost, and last also see a correlation for guests. So as the first aspect, lower price the ticket is a advantage towards guests. However, there might be a sudden difference due to the lower cost of the flight. The change date is a very huge factor that influence the ticket pricing. So due to the guests, if the guests are want to change the date with the lower cost, it will charge with a sudden penalty towards them, which is a very disadvantage and a way to cause dissatisfaction towards guests. And for the second aspect is about hidden costs within the flight. So for customer that using a lower price of the flight is a very great way to travel. However, hidden costs are charged with flights and airlines to make sure within the balance, the expensive are over with the profit of the company. The hidden costs could be charged with luggage charge, which is overweight luggage that you see during the check-ins. The check-in center, the check-in desk would to inform with guests of extra charge, and also with the food and drinks when on the flight, which the lower cost will be not included and not informed by the guests, which overbooking strategy will give a very huge confusion with guests and the information provided. And the last aspect is about seat allocation. So for seat location, you see on a overbooking strategy for company, what airline company when they use the strategy of the method, guests are not to receive any seat information until when the time arrive at the airport, when everything's checked in and the information been provided. This will also occur with a huge issue if the company have changed with overbooking, which the plane are totally full, that cause a lot of difficulties with the airline and customer. That is a really lack of pull down to customer satisfaction. And this is the end of my debate. Thank you for looking with us with the debate about overbooking with the ethical or not. We will have our decision to you, and this is our reference slides. And thank you very much for listening, and our meeting minutes and contract as well.